October 10 bracket IANS bracket close colon a government advisory on August 2 ahead of the erogation of Article 370 asking tourists and Amarnath pilgrims to have Kashmir due to prevailing security concerns ended on Thursday. A fresh advisory has now been issued which says the previous advisory is withdrawn. Para. The tourist desirous of undertaking visit to the state shall be provided all necessary assistance and logical support of the fresh advisory added much to the welcome by tourism community. Para. This is a clear indication that the situation in Kashmir is returning no normalcy. The government has assessed correctly the exact condition prevailing in Kashmir and has felt that tourism can be allowed with all precaution taken by any standard. This is good news. Para. The development is a good reply to the critics who felt happy to describe the conditions in Kashmir as very bad. They also loved to keep blasting the government for the abrogation of Article 370, not for the actual reason, but for the fallouts of any decision of that seriousness. The critics worried more about issues that were to be sorted out sooner or later and ignored the critically of the abrogation of special status in Kashmir. The latest advisory on tourism thus gives an effective reply to the political driven criticism. Para. Most unfortunately, the critics, not many of them through a thoughtful, kept blasting the government without knowing what effort two authorities were putting in to normalize the situation post Article 370. They did not realize how the authorities were easing the regulations in bits and pieces experimentally to test the waters. They also reimposed certain eased restrictions so as to keep a tighter check on any kind of undesirable activities. Their purpose was to ensure that normalcy was restored at the earliest. Para. The tourism advisory also is one such effort in the right direction. The authorities now feel sure that things are no longer need to be kept under a tight control. They realize that no society can be changed for interminable length of time, and therefore the moment they realize that things are easing out, they issue a fresh advisory on tourism with a promise of full assistance on all issues at this stage. It is necessary to tell the critics that their criticism about closed school and shut hotels and famished trade and empty roads with no vehicular traffic were only reference to temporary phenomenon under extraordinary conditions. The critics also must be told that when a long blistering wound is under treatment, the relief comes slowly and in stages. In fact, it would have been absolutely immature for any administration not to have introduced due restrictions to ensure that there was no damage to people. The events in the past 3 months prove very well that the things have been handled very well by the authorities. For during this period, not one single bullet has been fired and no untoward incident has taken place. There may have been some stray incidents whose overall impact was next to nothing in comparison to the long dark period in which even the security personnel could not safeguard themselves for stone pelting and terror strike. So bad the situation was that the terrorists killed soldiers on leave, killing them outside mosques and during wedding ceremonies in their families. In the past 3 months, nothing of this sort has happened thanks to the carefully planned trajectory of actions by the government. Para. The latest tourism advisory has come as part of the extension of more facilities and greater easing of regulations in Kashmir. In the times ahead, more such easing is going to be in evidence, taking the steps faster to normalcy, closer to happy times under a completely Indian contract. In the public interview anchored by famed lyricist Mr. Prasun Joshi in London during his first term, Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi had lamented about senseless criticism in response to a young questioner, perhaps in 20s. He had said in effect that he did not mind criticism as contrarian point of view was the foundation of democracy. But he felt disturbed by criticism that carried no sense, no valid point, no proper thought. Para. Something like this has happened as regard Kashmir post Article 370. The government, however, is conscious that such things are bound to happen in a cacophonous democracy. So, undoubted by such criticism, it has continued going about its mandate and planned implementation of right idea in larger national interest. Therefore, there is no doubt that in weeks ahead, Kashmir will return to actual normalcy that the available elsewhere in the country, and not by the Kashmir standard in which violence was an everyday happening. Anti-India rant by separatists supported by Pakistan was the order of the day, and nonsensical allegations about so-called violation of human rights was the media, police and political strategy of the separatists, in bracket again forwarded and funded by Pakistan, bracket close, para. No matter what the critics, in bracket in tribal minority, bracket close, say, average Indian people know it is very well that the government decision to abrogate Article 370 in Kashmir and split the former state into two union territories was absolutely right and in tune with the public demand of 7 decades. The average Indians are extremely of do nishan, do vidhan, do pradhan, in bracket, two flags, two constitution and two premiers, bracket close, has been done away with finally. Para. It is going to be matter of time, short time, when the situation in Kashmir will be normalized completely in tune with the national mood and condition